With over 1 billion members and 70 million company pages on LinkedIn, it is safe to say that the competition to get more eyes on your content is fiercer than ever. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about my system that you can use to boost your impressions. G'day everyone, it is Coach Michelle J. Raymond, and we are back again for another episode on how you can use LinkedIn to grow your business. And one of the ways that we're going to be looking at in today's episode is how do you get your content seen by more people? And on LinkedIn, that's called impressions. And if you don't know what an impression is, put simply, it is the number of times that LinkedIn shows your post on a screen. So imagine if you grab your phone and start scrolling, every time a post goes past your eyes, that's an impression. And that counts the same whether it's a personal post or a company page post. I've been creating content for coming up to 10 years next year. And during that time, I've watched the platform get more and more crowded as time went on. We've got more and more members that have joined the platform. And now it's not just about how do you create the content, but how do you make it stand out to your audience and ensure that LinkedIn supports you and keeps showing those posts to more and more people in your audience. Now more than ever, I think it's really easy to create content. It's not really easy to create content that stands out. I'm sure some days some of you feel like you're not getting anywhere. My analytics currently tell me that in the last 365 days, my number of impressions compared to the previous period is up over 830%. So something I'm doing is right. And I'm going to share with you exactly how I make sure that that's the case. Before I share with you how I rate my posts to boost my impressions, here's a quick word about our podcast sponsors, Metricool. If you haven't heard of it already, Metricool is an all-in-one social media management tool that is a lifesaver for scheduling, analyzing, and managing social media content. Whether it's for my podcast or LinkedIn pages, I can tackle everything in one place. Plus, Metricool is free today, tomorrow, and for life, allowing anyone to test out the platform and get hands-on with their social media management. Their free plan allows you to connect one brand across many social networks. With Metricool's free plan, you get access to in-depth analytics to make more strategic decisions, planning and auto-scheduling of up to 50 pieces of content per month to save time, promote your posts in seconds by creating and managing ads directly through the platform, view best times to see when your followers are more active and know when to post. Review and reply to all important social media messages with Metricool's inbox feature. Analysis of 5 competitor profiles to spy on the brands you like, and much more. It's truly a tool that you'll want to add to your social media toolkit. Plus, if you think the free plan is jam-packed with features, they also have premium plans to customize to your specific social media needs. To everybody that's listening, make sure you create your free account today and get started exploring the platform. All the links are in the show notes. Make sure you do go and check out Metricool because it has been a game changer in our business, having one place to schedule posts, store ideas, and repurpose our content. So check it out and let me know what you think. Why did I come up with this system for rating my posts before they went out? Well, quite simply, I'm just like everybody else. I'm competing for that same attention. And I want to make sure that for the amount of effort that I put into creating content, that I get the biggest return on that investment of time, of energy, of my brain power, of all of the resources in my business. And I want you to get exactly the same thing because I don't know about you, but the amount of time that it takes to create content, I think for me personally, it has grown exponentially over time. So what I've done is I've gone back and had a look at the posts that work best for me and had a look at what are the common things that each of those posts had and how could I look for that in my upcoming posts. And that's where the R.A.T.E framework comes from. So R.A.T.E stands for R is for relevant, A is for authentic, T is for thought leadership, and E is for empathy. And I'm going to step you through what I look for in each of my posts to make sure I tick each of these 4 things off. When I'm reviewing my post, the first thing that I take a look at is R is for relevant. Is it relevant to my audience? That is the number one thing that I start with. So LinkedIn themselves have told us that the algorithm rewards knowledge and advice. It wants you to talk to one audience on one topic and drive meaningful comments. That is how you boost impressions. And I check this straight up to make sure that what I'm posting is relevant to my audience on a topic that they've come to know me for. And it absolutely has to check this box off. Does this mean I can never go off track? Of course not. But I just know if I go off track, my audience is going to be like a bit confused. So staying on track and making sure that my content is relevant to my ideal audience that I've targeted, that is aligned with my business goals, it is really important that the effort that I put into is content that resonates with them. So that's always the first place that I start. And when I started to have a look at this, it was amazing how many times I got sidetracked. And I think the solution to making sure you create content that's relevant is making sure you have a content plan. Writing down what are the things that you want to be known for. A content plan should outline the topics you want to talk about that are relevant to the audience that you want to attract. Why does this matter? Well, it's quite simply, if you create the content that is relevant to the target audience and it speaks to them, then they are more likely to engage, which means like or comment or press see more or repost. If they take those actions, that is a positive sign to the LinkedIn algorithm that your audience is interested and that they should share it with more people in your community. This is a fundamental step that you have to get right before we move on anywhere. Is your post relevant to your audience? Second step in the framework is all about A for authenticity. I've done a couple of podcast episodes around this topic, but for me, breaking it down into its most simple format is, are you being you on LinkedIn? I often use the term digital twin. Are you creating the exact identical version of you on LinkedIn as if I was to meet you face to face off LinkedIn? Quite often the struggle when clients first come to work with me is that they really know they should be on LinkedIn, but the thought of putting themselves out there is quite off-putting. And the reason is that they want to become this LinkedIn version of themselves. They think they should create content in a certain manner or format. And for me, straight away, we are chopping that down, challenging those assumptions. There are different layers to being authentic. And before you get worried, no, I'm not asking you to share your deepest, darkest secrets on LinkedIn. There's a very big difference between content and sharing that's way too personal and possibly not for the platform, although that can be a spectrum that everybody sits along and no two people are the same. And that might change for you over time. When you're starting out, you're probably really nervous. Whereas if you've been doing it for a long time like me, I know what to expect from the community that I've built. And from that perspective, I have a lot more confidence. Why is this authenticity so important that you make sure that you check your post that it's coming across? Well, number one, authenticity is what builds trust. And trust is how we can stand out. And really, when people are considering who they want to do business with, they are going to want to do it with someone that they can relate to and that's someone that they can trust. And so being the authentic version of you is a winning strategy. You do not want them to have you show up in one way in your posts, jump on a Zoom call, and then all of a sudden go, huh? I don't understand. You're so different to how you come across. The best compliment that I ever have from my podcast listeners when they reach out and we have a call like this is when they say to me, oh my God, Michelle, you're just like when I listen to you on the podcast, or you're just the same as when I read your content. That is the best compliment that I could ever ask for. Being authentic is even more important on LinkedIn right now when we have so much content and comments generated by AI tools. When you think about it, there is only one of you on LinkedIn. This is your ultimate competitive advantage. So showing up authentically as you to an audience that resonates with who you are is, again, going to go back to they are more likely to press like, leave you a comment, or take some other form of action that highlights to the LinkedIn algorithm that this is good content that should be seen by more people. Once again, it boosts your impression. Approaching the third step of how I rate my post is T is for thought leadership. Now, I don't mean everybody wants to become a thought leader, but within this framework, I want you to have a look and say, in this post, is there something that is uniquely mine that shares my thoughts? Based on your experience, based on your wins, based on your losses, based on your predictions for the future and your knowledge and your experience and the things that you've been through. This is what thought leadership is to me. And again, it comes back to so much AI generated content, all sound same. So how are you going to create your content that distinguishes you outside of all of that? So by sharing your thought leadership pieces, which is your unique experiences, your unique point of view, this is a way that you can stand out. And the best part about this is you are going to start to attract people that appreciate your unique insights. They're coming onto LinkedIn to be educated, entertained, inspired. And by putting your thought leadership content out there, this is how you can become the magnet to attract the right type of community. Why is the right type of community important when we're talking about boosting impressions? Quite simply because the right type of community will enjoy your content. And we're back to it again. What boosts impressions is likes and comments and other forms of engagement. So the more that you can do this, if you want to know what the LinkedIn algorithm loves most, it loves comments. It is wanting you to generate meaningful comments. How can you do that? By generating a post that has meaningful content that drives those comments and engages people and asks them, come and contribute to this conversation. The other thing about thought leadership that I just want to throw out there is I know that there are a lot of viral templates that you can use and they become popular. And if you use them, you might be thinking, oh, great, look at my numbers. They just went up. I've got way higher impressions than I normally do. Except the problem is, are those sets of eyes that are seeing your content and seeing these viral templates that you've just used, which are copies of somebody else's work out there. Let's just throw that out there. It's borderline plagiarism, no matter how much you kid yourself that if you change a couple of words, it's not. But if you think about it, you're now getting seen by a totally random audience. And that is not where your business opportunities are going to come from. So you might feel popular for a moment. You might actually get swamped with an inbox and comments and notifications, and it's going to send you off track. And we're all about, on this podcast, making sure that we use LinkedIn efficiently and effective to generate business opportunities for growth. That is why we are always aiming for authentic thought leadership. The fourth step, as I rate my post, is E for empathy. And I think this is possibly the most important step in the whole framework. The reason that it's important is that there is so much content that goes out there that is all about me. So it's generated to make the person that's posting the content look better, sound better, and apparently it's all about ego. Now, if you want success on LinkedIn and to boost impressions, think about, why are the people out there on LinkedIn scrolling right now? Have empathy for a day in the life of your target audience. So pick a job, any job, the person that's out there that's your B2B buyer. Think about, what is it that they're measured on day by day? So what are the KPIs? Think about what stuff happens out there in their day that gives them headaches. Create content that speaks to either one of those two things, and you will immediately get their interest. And again, if you get their interest, they're more likely, if they find it valuable, to press like or comment. And these are the things, again, that help us get more impressions. And so from this perspective, I think empathy is missing from a lot of the content. It's what keeps things real. It's what keeps us connected. It's what builds community. And these are the things that boost your impressions. It is not about copywriting hacks. It's not about, post at certain times of the day. It is starting to think about, who is the person that I am creating this content for, and how can this content make a difference to them? This is a massive switch for most people in their content. And I find it when I'm working with businesses on their company pages, first and foremost, is it's always all about the company. And again, if we just flip the switch and start going, how does the company solve the problems for their people out there? What are the solutions that they offer? How can you make the biggest difference to the B2B buyer that's out there on the other side of things? Start creating content from that space and watch your numbers soar. So there you have it, listeners. You can now rate your posts just like I do before you put them out onto LinkedIn. And this works for your company page and your personal post. The system works for both. That's the beauty of it. But I want you to go back and have a look at your content and have a look and say, did I tick off all 4 of those steps? Or was something missing that maybe for next time you can look to improve? So speaking of improvements, I have one shout out to LinkedIn on this one for a new feature that I think you should be aware of. It's rolling out, and that is with scheduled posts. They are now able to be edited. Hallelujah. It is so exciting. So this means for those of you who have avoided using the scheduling tool on LinkedIn because you can't edit posts after they've been done, you used to have to delete it and start again, which is really annoying. Well, now you can edit those. So that's going to be a great change. That will probably roll out over time, but keep an eye out for that one. And if it's something that you avoided scheduling posts on LinkedIn directly, then it might be something that is worth taking a look at. So until next episode, listeners, keep looking for those opportunities on LinkedIn. They are yours to take. Cheers.